Phase Zero Emergency Podcast starts right now. If you'll notice, I'm on my phone. We couldn't wait. I'm trying to get a haircut. I'm trying to get things done before San Diego Comic-Con. And the Russo Brothers said, no, you're not. Okay, Emergency Podcast. We just wrapped up the Wednesday show. It's a little post-credit scene. BD here, Aaron's here, Jenna's here, Jamie's here. Aaron, you have the article pulled up. I haven't even had a chance to read it yet. My phone has been blowing up. We tried to organize this episode. Can you tell the fine people on Phase Zero, who obviously, if they're here live, know why they're here, but anybody who's listening in podcast form, why are we having an emergency podcast right now?
Because the Russo brothers are in talks to direct the next 2 Avengers movies.
Yeah. What does the report say? I haven't even had a chance to read it.
Well, I don't have the report pulled up, but it does say something along the lines of like they've offered it to other people. They offered it to Sean Levy, which like we know we covered on the show pretty extensively, and it does say repeatedly like early talks. Like nothing is confirmed, nothing is officially signed, but like they are at least in the conversation.
It's interesting. That's very interesting. That is suspicious timing.
Yeah,
very suspicious timing because we are a week away from. Right. Comic-Con. Also, D23 is right around the corner, so I could see this being the type of thing they want to announce at one of these conventions or expos. But anyway, all right, we'll go around. I think all of us are going to have very different reactions to this news. I've only seen Jamie's take on Twitter, and I know my own. Jenna and Aaron, I don't know where you guys stand on this. Jamie, how are you feeling about this?
I don't like it. I already muted my tweet, so if you're responding to it, have fun. I have nothing to do with this. Here's the thing: the Russos did an amazing job with what they did in Marvel, and having them back could be fun in some way. But just giving them the next 2 Avengers movies, I'm sorry, I think it's boring. I think it's too safe, and honestly, like I said in my tweet, I think it's kind of cowardly. The thing about the Russos is that they don't really have a distinct style. They just do what they're told, I feel like. And yeah, that really works, I guess, for this and where they're at in Marvel. But I think that we in Phase 4, we've had a lot of growing pains. We've seen a lot of really unique, big, bold choices. And I think to just revert back is, like I said, kind of cowardly. I'm sure they'll do a good job. I'll watch the movie. It's not like I'm like, oh, they're terrible. How could we do this? But I think it's lame. I really do. I'm not excited about it.
Yeah, I could not disagree more, but I'll save mine for the end. Aaron, what do you think?
I am largely with Jamie, but this is always what I've been joking on the podcast is going to happen. When you had all this backlash to what was going on, you were going to go back to the cocoon of what was familiar, what was safe, what was known. They are a known quantity. You know what you're getting with the Russo brothers. You know there's a certain level of quality. You order from a fast food chain because the food comes out the same every time. And that people say as a negative, but no. When I'm in an airport at 3:00 in the morning and I've been laid over and I want to go and get Wendy's or whatever, and I want them nuggets, I get them nuggets. And they are the same whether I'm in Kalamazoo, Michigan or Los Angeles. And that is a underrated thing. So
why is it got to be a fast food comparison? You go to anywhere from McDonald's to Olive Garden to
I didn't do McDonald's. The Bloomin' Onion, the same in Miami Beach, Florida, or Portland, Oregon.
Sucks. I don't know. I went to Outback recently and it was disgusting.
You think Bloomin' Onions suck? Oh my god!
I think Outback is disgusting.
This is gonna go completely off the rails. We're just gonna talk about chain restaurants for 20 minutes. I'm definitely in the same camp as Aaron and Jamie. As I already tweeted, I know I will thoroughly enjoy these movies regardless, especially if they are directing. I count Winter Soldier and Infinity War among like my top MCU movies. So it's like, I do like when they are able to deliver and are able to do something really fun. Jamie is exactly right of like the franchise as a whole, I feel like has moved past and we've grown past where the Russo brothers are kind of at. I think that they can deliver and they can stick the landing. The first thing that Chris and I said to each other when we saw this news is like, this proves how hard of a job this is for like to get somebody else to sign on for. Cause it is a Herculean effort regardless to work on something like this and to especially work on Secret Wars. So I get that like, there's probably very few people who are equipped and willing to do it. And they might be the people who are most willing to say yes at the end of the day.
you say move past it, but the Marvel audience has gotten smaller. So how are they, like, the direction they've gone clearly hasn't been working. They're losing directors for projects. They're losing, like, they're having, it took them forever and 100 people seemingly passing on Reed Richards to even cast the role, which 5 years ago would have been, somebody could have opened it and seen Marvel and got to FAN and said yes to the casting. I don't think Marvel has fallen off by any means. Like, I think the discourse about Marvel is overtly negative for a lot of reasons, and it's not necessarily reflective of the quality. But I do think it's undeniable that the box offices have not been the same. It's not been home runs. So yes, we've literally moved past it in the timeline. But you just mentioned Winter Soldier and Infinity War. They're two of the best Marvel movies. I'm a huge fan of the Russo brothers. I love this news. I'm cool with it. I think also, though, the unsung heroes of those movies in a lot of cases are Marcus and McFeely. So I think who's writing it is also tremendously important. But I think the Russos have a great relationship with the cast. They directed two of the most rigorous productions, the longest productions. They got pneumonia from doing it when they did Infinity War and Endgame. They balanced the characters so well. They do, like, no, you're not going to get the over-the-top Sam Raimi camp style that you got in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, which was not met with tremendous reception off of Twitter. And I think, like, yes, it is more mainstream. It's a bit more of, like, a safe choice because it worked, because a lot of people liked it, and everybody really enjoyed it. I think they have a great relationship with the cast members, despite putting them through months and months and months and months of shoots. All of Hollywood was too booked and busy to film anything else in 2017, 2018, 2019. They took Chadwick Boseman, did another movie with him. They took Tom Holland, did another movie with him. People like working with these guys. I'm all for it. I don't think that maybe there is somebody who could do a better job, but their resume with Marvel is so good that I have no reason to say I don't want another big movie from them.
Ain't nobody say that. We just said it's uncreative. That's all, and that's
cowardly.
True. Yeah.
It is. It's a corporate machine choice. I'm sorry, like, you know, it is a corporate decision that feels like there just feels zero creativity in this idea. And again, they'll do a fine job. I'm sure they will. I like all 4 of their Marvel movies. I love them. They're top tier. But
they have like the best action too. Like, you take characters that they had, and their action sequences are better than a lot of those characters in their own movies.
Fair. Yeah, shout out to the fight choreographers and the
Sam Hargrave, my boy.
No, listen, like I just think it's unexciting.
I think it's very. This is why we do this. This is why
the whole conversation is going to be anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But the fun, like, Aaron's spicy nugget of the week along with this is that they're reportedly saying that maybe, just maybe, and we'll learn for real here in a week, that homeboy Michael Waldron is not writing the movie anymore. So you might get Marcus and McFeely and the Russos back for these 2 movies.
Marcus and McFeely, to me, are the most important part. I think they're very important. But then I look at, like, I don't know. They also wrote Thor: The Dark World. So it's and granted, they went on to do Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, which are 4 of my favorite Marvel titles ever. And I would argue, and I would agree with everybody, Winter Soldier might not be my favorite, but I would have to say it's probably the best. Like, when we do our rankings and we say, yes, we rank based on favorites, and that is different from, like, if we were critiquing a movie and saying what's the best, I would probably say Winter Soldier might genuinely be the best, and that was the Russos. And I just think they have a stamp that they put on their movies that I really enjoy. I know it's not. I know some people want something more stylish, something more risky, whatever. I don't care about risks when I walk into the movie. I just want to know I'm going to enjoy it and believe I'm going to enjoy it. And these guys ensure that I'm probably going to enjoy it because I've enjoyed their 4 for 4. So that's my say. I'm very excited for it. I just like Anthony and Joe. I've interviewed them. I like them, but I love their work in the Marvel universe. They don't have all home runs outside the universe, and I know that for sure.
And that's why I really keep going back to them being just, like, kind of do whatever Feige wants, guys, because like, it's proven outside of Marvel that they don't. I'm not a gray man hater. I'll say it. I'll admit it. But like even still, like, I think it's been proven that I think that they just show up and kind of do what they're told. And maybe that's good. Maybe it's bad. We'll see. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just not interesting.
The chat is like viewing our like viewpoints on this so wildly. Like some people are like, Jamie and Aaron want you to hire like an A24 director, which like
Baby.
we're not saying that.
I would have levitated through the ceiling if they had like the Daniels do this. That would be
Daniels
cool.
would be great.
But that's not going to happen, so this is fine.
No.
Huh?
I even love
if Daniels
Jenna's.
did a Marvel movie before an Avengers movie, that would be, to me, like, that's a huge risk to take. And I think, yes, as you said, this is a business, this is corporate, this is a machine. The Daniels, I want the Daniels to direct the Marvel movie. I think that would be a freaking stylish, incredible adventure for all of us to experience. Like, it would be more than a movie, it would be an experience. But having not done a movie of this size, and to go to Avengers 5 and 6, which probably is going to take the shape of Avengers versus X-Men, where you're going to have these massive, massive casts. I'm not saying they couldn't do it, but I don't, they didn't do Winter Soldier and Civil War before it to prove that they can. When it was Destin Daniel Craig, and I was hyped because I love Shang-Chi, when he was doing Avengers 5, it was like, yes, somebody who did a Marvel, like, to me, to do an Avengers movie, you have to show you can work in this machine. Maybe not even Marvel, just in a big, massive franchise film, because I think an A24 movie and a Marvel movie are probably such vastly different experiences, and that could also lead to the conflict where, yes, sometimes Kevin Atlanta, sorry, whoever called me. But I think that part of it is listening to Kevin Feige in the direction of Marvel Studios overall, because it is part of a franchise, it's part of a machine, and when you do an A24 movie, it's probably a lot more your movie than any other studio, which is something also some people will work well with, some people won't. And some people will get mad at Marvel for it, and some people won't. But
I think that's exactly why they have fallen to the Russos, because I think a lot of people have said, no thanks, you're not going to let me make a movie. You're going to tell me what to do. And I really, I think that comes down to it. I'm sure just like Reed Richards, I'm sure a lot of people said no.
I also think a huge part of it, and we'll probably have more clarity in a week at San Diego, it depends on when these movies are supposed to come out. Like, if they are meeting certain release dates, if they need to be delivered at a certain point in time, then you kind of have to find people that can probably turn that in a reasonable amount of time. It's the same thing that happened with Star Wars, of why we ultimately went back to J.J. Abrams, because they had a release date for Rise of Skywalker, and they needed...
Jamie.
I know, Jamie made a face. Again, I completely agree with that face, but it was like the movie had to be out at a certain point in time, and so then they picked a director to do that. I would not be surprised if this becomes a situation that's kind of similar to that.
Well, here we imagine if this dropped right before the Phase Zero panel, and the panel got this heated on stage at San Diego. I'm curious if this is going to be news at San Diego or D23. I'd be surprised, given the emphasis on how early of talks it seems to be. That we heard about in that report. I still haven't even had a chance to read it myself, but I don't know. I've said for like a few months now that I want Avengers Secret Wars to be my last junket ever, and then I want to just go behind the scenes and disappear from the internet. And if it's a final interview with the Russo brothers, I'd be thrilled. Personally.
I would like to go on record saying that even though I don't like this idea, when the time comes, if it is them and it is out, I'm sure, I don't want to be like, oh, Jamie's not allowed to like this movie because she didn't want them to direct it. I'm sure I'll like it. Like, when it all is said and done.
Jamie hates the Russo brothers, confirmed.
I also want to readmit for people who are out there right now, this is not, I don't think it's completely a bad thing, because that's what the audience is demanding, and you're gonna get what you want. You all won. I've been saying it for 3 months. You won already.
It's also, this is still early. This is still super early. Like, this could all just completely fall out.
Eat that W. Yeah.
All right. Well, this was our emergency podcast. We had to share our thoughts because we know the most important thing that happens, the first thought everybody has when there is big Marvel news, they say, what do BD, Aaron, Jenna, and Jamie think of this? And we were like, we got to go give it to him. So we called Peter. Peter's out on lunch right now doing this, operating StreamYard for us from his phone. Richard's like, oh my God, I just stepped out to go get Wendy's. It tastes just like a Marvel movie. And he was unable to do it. But so we had to do this. So we'll obviously have more updates about this on the podcast, Twitter and all that, and on comicbook.com. So if any of this comes to fruition, stay tuned. We will have all of our San Diego Comic-Con still happening plans. We updated that on the podcast today. You can find the official graphic for it on the Phase Zero Twitter. We'll probably tweet it a couple more times. X-Men movie rankings are out there. Aaron, any last words for today's emergency reaction podcast episode?
excited to see what the fallout is from all of this, because now we got, it was already going to be hype on Saturday. You went through the roof. People are going to expect them to walk out there like Joe Hendry. Now,
I believe in Joe Russo. Here's the thing. If they don't address this now, it feels weird. If the timing is so suspicious, I'm interviewing Kevin Feige on Saturday. I'm interviewing him probably again at Comic-Con, hopefully. I'm going to bring this up if he doesn't. You know? Jenna, any last words for today's show?
It's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on social media. As always, go read some comics. Go read the Secret Wars comic, because obviously it is only becoming more relevant with the day. And yeah, I love how we already have so many episodes planned, and then the universe was like, what's one more? Why not?
Oh my God. Biggest month in Phase Zero history. Jamie, what you got?
Don't follow me on Twitter. Don't talk to me. Who knows? Maybe Joe Russo will play a new gay character this time. Can't wait to find out.
Also, don't be on your phone in movie theaters.
All right, y'all. Well, I mean that.
For the audio listener, Aaron just left the room.
I will argue about a lot of things, but I can't. That's one that I can't defend. It's just it is what it is. All right, y'all. That's our show. Thank you so much for listening. Play our show for your mom. Play our show for your dog. Please stay tuned. There was something else I was going to say, but that so caught me off guard that I completely forgot. That's our emergency reaction podcast, everybody. Peter, if you're listening, end the show. End it. Love it.